Microphone. Okay, so I think my microphone is working. I hope it is anyway. And otherwise, this is going to be a silent movie. Okay, so what I wanted to show you guys was logging on to netlabs. This is something that you're going to need for some of your laboratories that are coming up. And so we're going to start with lab 7, I think it's 7.2.7. We'll see in just a minute though. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to go up here to my browser line and I'm going to type in netlabs.stanley.edu. Okay, hit return. Okay, now it's going to challenge me for my user ID and password. Obviously yours will be different. You're going to have your email and then your password. And unless you've already changed it, your password is going to be change me, all lowercase. But I've already changed my password. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so this is going to bring you to netlabs. Okay, now I have a lab reservation already because I made it just a little while ago. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pretend like I'm going to schedule another lab reservation. So I'll click up here where it says schedule. Schedule a lab for myself. Y'all's will be a little bit different, but this should be the same. You ought to see like a list of all the labs that are associated with this class. Okay, and I know some of these labs here we just did like on our own, using our home computers. But this one here I want you guys to do on netlabs. And so what you're going to do is click on the lab 727. Click. Okay, now it says, well, when do you want to do this? All right, well, I'm going to pretend like, all right, I feel kind of guilty about doing this because there's a limited number of pods and reservation spaces available. But I think there's like 16 or 20 of these pods. And so we'll just go way out here to the right. Like if you go to, like say it's late at night and you're trying to do your homework and there's a bunch of people that already have the pods blocked off, just click on this and go out to the right and, yeah, pod 20. So we'll go to pod 19. And we're going to pretend like we're going to make ourselves a reservation for 3 o'clock this afternoon. Okay, so right here is the 1500 time slot. So I'm going to go to pod 19 and I'm going to click on this. Okay, and it says the default is 50 minutes. And you can change that if you want to. Like if you want to get like a 2-hour reservation or something, then you can do that. But I'm just going to take the default and I'm going to submit it. Now, here's the thing. If you're working on, like say there's a lab and you're thinking, okay, well, I can probably knock that out in an hour, no problem. You can go ahead and schedule yourself some extra time. The other thing is if you're right in the middle of working on a lab and it's almost time for your lab time to be over, it'll come up with a message and it'll say, do you want to extend your lab time? And then you can say yes, and you can get a couple of lab extensions there. But you might want to go ahead and block off like 2 hours just in case. But for this one, I think 50 minutes will be a gracious plenty. So now I'm going to click on submit. Okay, so now I've got another reservation scheduled. And nobody else was using those pods that time of the day. Today there's not really a whole lot of people. Okay, now you'll see here where it says my time is here. Okay, so now it's time for me to enter the lab, and so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Initializing pod. Okay, now this thing's going to come up with the lab. Well, it's posed to. Okay, there it goes. Okay, so this is your network topology. You've just got like one switch and one PC for this lab. And then your content is going to be here. This is going to tell you, and you can have this usually what I do is I'll take my lab that I got off of Netacad and I'll just put it into like a Microsoft window or a Microsoft Word window so that I can answer questions if I need to. Okay, but this is going to give you your instructions for what you're supposed to do. Okay, so let's pretend like, okay, let's just go ahead and do some of this stuff. Okay, so it says here, configure devices and verify connections. All right, so let's do that. Let's see, from the command prompt on PCA, ping the switch address. All right, well, first thing we need to do is go to PCA. Here it is. Okay, and PCA is already started up for us. Yay. Okay, so, all right, if I can find my mouse, there it is. Okay, I'm going to click here because I want to go to a command prompt and I want to ping, shoot, what was the address of the switch? Okay, now I'll be amazed if this switch answers the phone because I doubt that it's even started. 192.168.1.2. Okay, ping 198.162.1.2. Is that even the right address? No, it's 192.168. My bad. Ping 192.168.1.2. Okay, so no. Can we ping ourselves? Yeah. ipconfig. Okay, we have an auto-configured IP address. We're going to have to change that. Let's see. All right, so let's go back to our content. Okay, now, was the ping successful? No, it wasn't, because we haven't set anything up. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go to the switch. Click on that. Oh, okay, cool. So the switch is started up for us, and it's ready to rock and roll. See, this is why it pays to have these open in different windows so that you don't have to keep flipping back and forth. Okay, so the first thing it wants us to do is issue the command hostname S1 and then no IP domain lookup. Okay. The reason why we do the no IP domain lookup is because if you type a mistake, okay, see how it says invalid input detected? If you don't do this no IP domain lookup, then when you type in a command like, just type in something random, it's going to sit here and spin trying to go and do an IP lookup on whatever you typed in. And so it just winds up wasting a bunch of time. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to give an address to VLAN 1. Okay, so let's do it. Interface VLAN 1, and then we're going to give it this IP address and subnet mask, and then we're going to turn on the interface by issuing the no shutdown command. Okay, so let's see if we can remember all that. Interface VLAN 1, IP address, no shutdown. Okay, cool deal. Now then, all right, let's see if we can ping it from PCA, which, I don't know, we might. Okay, so how come that failed? Well, it's because we got this bad IP address here, so we're going to need to fix that. All right, so let's go into our Do settings. Go to our network settings. Ethernet. Change adapter options. Okay. Okay, we don't want our virtual Ethernet. We want just plain Ethernet. And so what we're going to do is change settings of this connection. And we're looking for IPv4. There it is. Properties. Okay, we do not want to do this because we don't have a DHCP server. That's never going to work. So we're going to need to give ourselves, I can't remember, what did it say? 192.168.1.3, I think. I don't know if that's what the directions say, I can't remember, but this will definitely work. And we don't need a DNS server because we're not leaving the network. Okay, close that, shut that. Let's go back, ipconfig. Okay, now we got a decent looking address. All right, now let's try that ping command one more time. Ping 192.168.1.2. Oh, it would help if I could spell. Well, I think I hit return. Okay, there it goes. It takes a minute. Okay, you'll notice this as we're going through some of these labs. Whenever you bring a switch online, at first it doesn't know where it is. And so it has no idea who's on the line and how to communicate with them. So whenever you first send it a message or send it any kind of traffic, it'll take a second for the switch to kind of orient itself and figure out which devices are associated with which switch port. And so it has to do some thinking. But once it's got a lay of the land and the switch figures out which devices it's talking to, then the next time you issue a command, it'll go really fast. Okay, what's the next thing on our list? Okay, well, ping successful. Okay, now we're supposed to be looking at our MAC address tables. Okay, so we're going to take a look. It says go to our PC and do an ipconfig/all. Okay, this is going to tell us a whole lot of information, including our physical address. See this right here? Okay, so our physical address is 00505695D505. This is 48 bits long. And let's see. Okay, so that's our MAC address for our PC. And so now we need to see what we're supposed to be doing next. Okay, what is the OUI portion of the MAC address? This is Organization Unique Identifier, or crud. The O stands for something, but it's the unique identifier that's associated with the company that made this particular device, and it's always going to be the first three octets. So in this case, our OUI portion is 00-50-56. So we could type that in. I can't because this is read only. Okay, now how do you find the name of the vendor? Well, you can go to Wireshark and they've got an OUI finder, and if you bring that up, let's see. Okay, I don't want a download. What I'm looking for is their OUI finder. OUI Finder. Here we go. OUI lookup tool. See, if I was like plundering around on the Wireshark site, it would take me forever to find this thing. All right, so that was 00-50- crud, I can't remember now what it said. That's okay. I know this is a lot of back and forth. 005056. And you can put the whole MAC address in here if you want to. Okay, and the result comes back to VMware. Okay, well, big surprise. It turns out that this PC is just a virtual PC. So even though it looks like whenever you go to netlabs and you look at the desktop for this PC, it looks like you're really running a PC, but no, it's actually a virtual device. But that's okay, because for our purposes, it does everything we need it to. Okay, so VMware. Now, if you do this on your NIC at home, then it's going to be something for real, you know, like Realtek or MediaTek or Intel, you know, depending on who made your network interface card. Okay, let's see. Identify the serial number of the MAC address of PCA. Okay. All right. Kind of did that. I don't know, maybe I'm missing something here. Oh, my bad. Okay, so at first it was talking about this. Okay, I thought they were wanting us to go ahead and do the one for our machine, but they were wanting us to do this one. Okay, they want us to look up 5C26OA. I know my typing is slow. Okay, so for the example they gave us, this one is Dell. Okay, and then ours is VMware. All right, now then, it wants us to do a show interface VLAN 1 on the switch interface. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so here's our address that we gave ourselves, and right up here is our address 001E14. So let's go look. 001E14. Ooh, big surprise. This switch was made by Cisco Systems. You can see where these numbers, you know, being able to look up an OUI comes in handy. So that, you know, in case you've got a device on the network and you're not really sure, then you can just look it up and find out who made it, and that might help you with your troubleshooting or if you need to buy a replacement or something like that. What is the MAC address for VLAN 1? Okay, well, we already took a look at that. The MAC serial number for VLAN 1 and the OUI. Okay, the MAC serial number is the last 6. So where is that? Okay, so the MAC, this is the whole MAC address, and the first 3, so 001E14, that's the OUI, and then the individual identifier is B2F3C0. I'm going to minimize this because I keep clicking on it. Okay, based on this OUI, what is the name of the vendor? Cisco Systems. And let's see, what else have we got here? And let's see. Okay, so let's see. Why does the output show the same MAC address twice? And what does BIA stand for? Okay, so if we take a look here, you're going to see the address is this, okay? And then the BIA, that stands for burned in address. That's like the permanently burned into the device MAC address that it was assigned at the factory. Now, normally these will be the same. I don't know how to do it, but I think there is a way to change the MAC address, kind of like give it a fake MAC address. But ordinarily you would never do that. And so the hardware address and the burned in address are going to be the same thing on a device like this especially. Now on a computer, I've heard of hackers changing their MAC addresses through software means, but ordinarily when people do that, it's because they're trying to like get into a company. You know, they're trying to hook onto the network with a laptop and make the network think that it's a different device than it actually is. Okay, so anyway, so our MAC address and our burned in address are the same. And that's always how it's supposed to be. Okay, now it says they want us to do a show ARP. Okay, so let's do that. Okay. Okay, so here we've got IP addresses 192, 168, 1.2, and 1.3, right? And okay, this 1E14B2 business, this is what we just saw up here. Okay, so that's our MAC address, and then the 005056, etc. That's the address that we saw on the PC. Okay, so that's what we expected. ARP table, address resolution protocol. Okay, what this does is it allows the switch to associate IP addresses with MAC addresses so that it knows that any traffic that's bound for .1.3 is going to go to this address and it's going to be on that on the correct port. And hang on, I think they want us to take a look at those also. Yeah, it says show MAC address table. So let's do that. Show MAC table. Okay, so this port here, FA06, this is us. And we've got the MAC address 50.0050.56. And that was dynamically learned. It wasn't just put in by somebody. Yes, and it's on port FA06. Just like it was on theirs. Okay, now reflection questions, I'm going to let you guys answer those because, you know, I'm not supposed to be 100% doing your homework for you. But this is pretty easy. Can you have broadcast at the layer 2 level? Yes, of course. And what would the MAC address be? Well, it would be all ones. And why do you need to know the MAC address of a device? In case you're trying to find it. We might need to locate this thing at some point in time. Okay, and what do you know? We did give it the right address. Okay, cool. So that basically is, you know, once you filled this out, then you can actually submit that on netlabs also. And I'll make you guys a video about submitting on netlabs. Okay, one last thing before we go. I just wanted to show you guys this. Okay, so you know how a few minutes ago I was talking about you can't type into this because, you know, it's locked. What you can do is just download this. You don't have to go back over to Netacad if you don't want to, because it's the exact same thing. You can download this as a PDF, and then you can actually, you know, edit it with Microsoft Word or whatever your favorite editor is. And then I want you to fill out your answers and upload, and please put your answers in a different color so I can read them easily, and upload to Canvas like we do with other things. And then the other thing I want y'all to do while you're in here, see how like we click on PCA and we had like these ipconfig commands and we had these ping commands. Okay, so take a couple of screenshots. So right here where PCA is, it's got like this little drop down, and you can take a screenshot, okay, and click on submit. And then like go down to where you've got your ipconfig information and screenshot that again. Just a couple screenshots is all I need, just so that I can see that you actually were in the lab and doing the work. And the school just wants us to do that so that we can say that our students are using this equipment, because this stuff really is an excellent learning tool. And it's like, I know it kind of looks like Packet Tracer, but it's not. Whenever you log into one of these pods, you're actually activating a router and a switch. Actually, I think there's 2 routers and 2 switches in each pod. So yeah, you can do a lot of stuff with these things. Okay, so that's it for today, and I will talk to y'all later.